Good morning, traders. Welcome to our trading room. We are in the London trading room. We had an Asian session this morning. And for those of you watching this on YouTube, this normally goes out once a week on Monday as a weekly outlook. Uh, Disclaimer, we're not giving you trade calls because most of the trade setups you would see me show, they come with a whole set of rules of how you're going to manage that trade. So I think for my YouTube viewers, and there probably will be a few new YouTube viewers who will be watching me from the last exhibition I went to in Abu Dhabi. So if you're watching this, let me give you a quick update of what I do, what our wave analysis looks like. Because a lot of people are not aware of what wave analysis is. I learned that at the Forex Expo where I figured out of the 20 plus or 30 or 40 people I spoke to, only about 5 people figure out what wave analysis is. They have an idea what it is. Most people don't. So I'm going to make it simple. Wave analysis, I think most people, everybody knows about Elliott wave. If you're a trader, you knows about Elliott wave. So the concept of Elliott wave is that the market moves in waves, right? It doesn't go in a straight line. That concept is absolutely true. It's not new, and it was not created by Elliott, sorry. They call it Elliott wave because he was the one who tried to organize that. Before, Dow theory is about the market also moving in waves, but only in 3-wave structures. Elliott says 5 waves. Well, there is a big doubt in both of those because the market doesn't move in 3 or in 5. It can move in 7 waves, it can move in 3 waves, it can move in 5 waves. And even if it's an impulsive move, which we all agreed on what's an impulse, that's not a hard thing to do. Guess what an impulsive move is? Elliott defines impulsive wave as 5-wave structures with internal. The Dow theory doesn't have any specific thing for it, but I can tell you that it can have 5, it can have 3, and it's still impulsive. So what I create with wave analysis is taking all of that and putting it into a more practical trading method that we use without all the counting and labeling and all of that stuff, because most of it are outdated. I'm not going to go into the argument with anybody whether wave is the holy grail and nothing there is incorrect. That's up to you. But what I'm telling you, it's not that practical in terms of trading. And there's a lot of things that Elliott maybe saw it his time, but in our time it's different. So the patterns, the idea of labeling and forming the patterns are there. The concept is very basic. Nothing goes up in a straight line. Nothing comes down in a straight line. That's a basic concept. So there will be an impulsive movement in one direction or the other. And then there'll be a shorter time of consolidation. You call it consolidation, accumulation, whatever you want to call it. That's up to you. But there'll be a shorter period of time when the market is going to go sideways. That is the period of time when the market is trading in a range, which means the buying and selling orders are pretty much within the same range. There is enough buying and selling orders to fill. And at some point in time, you're going to have a disbalance again. You're either going to have more buying orders or you're going to have more selling orders. And the market will move towards where buyers are or sellers are. That's it. That's all there is to understand about this concept. It's not that difficult to understand the concept. Now, using the concept to trade is where the problem comes. Because if you look at this chart, you can see there's a ton of waves. Let me start with this one. And I'm going to start with it weekly so you can have a good idea what we're talking about. I know I'm taking up a little time of your from the webinar, but this is more important. This is what a normal chart looks like. And you probably think, what is this guy talking about wave analysis and all this nonsense, right? But I'm going to just put some lines so you can see what I'm talking about. See that phase of consolidation after that impulsive move? You get that. You notice there's a phase of consolidation, then another impulsive move, another consolidation, another impulsive move, another consolidation, and then the reversal starts to happen. Now, this is where confusion starts for most traders. Since we all trade in the 15 minutes, what point is the reversal? How do you understand where the reversal is going to happen? How do you understand whether it's a sell or a buy consolidation? And that is where patterns come in. That is where, when you add to the wave theory, the idea that it moves in waves, it doesn't move in a straight line, what patterns it's creating there. There are specific type of patterns that you will see there. And these patterns will tell you mostly the direction you're expecting it to go. You're about 80% correct. I could sit down here and draw this whole chart and show you why you're correct most of the time, but that's not the point of this webinar. It happens. And you're going to be, now, if you get an impulse and you get a consolidation, that's only the analysis part of it. Even when you make the forecast that you think it's going to go there, this is just the first part of your trading. That's called the analysis. The second part is now, how do you get this? For that, you will need a strategy, right? And when you get the strategy that tells you where you're going to enter, where you're going to put the stop, and where you're going to look for your target, the most important part in your trading career will come now. That's when you become a trader. Is what do you do with the trade? How do you manage the trade? And by managing the trade, I mean, how do you close the trade? Right? Because this is going to be the most important part in your trading career. If you ask anybody why traders lose their account, there are going to be millions of things people are going to tell. They're going to tell you about trading psychology. They're going to tell you about not understanding fundamentals. Some of them are going to tell you they don't have a plan. Some of them tell you they need to create a journal. All of that is BS. You can do all of that stuff and still lose your account. You can have inside information and still lose your account. Because the number one reason why traders lose is what to do with a trade once they're inside of it. How do you close the trade when it's not going in your way? When a trade goes your way, you click, it goes, great, you make profit. Anybody can do that. You just need one finger to do that. You don't even need any brain cells. You just click, it goes your way, you take profit. You become a professional trader when you learn how to manage bad trades, because you're going to have them. It doesn't matter what analysis you do. It doesn't matter what strategy you're using. There are going to be times when this does it, it consolidates like this. Remember what they're doing here. They're just filling orders. And there will be just enough buy orders to break the top of this one here and reversed. So if you're buying the top, buying the breakout as we normally do, what do you do in this case? Now that's where I come in. That's what our group do. That's what I train my traders to do. How to manage your trade when it doesn't go your way. When it goes your way, they don't need me. Nobody's going to ask me, hey, look, I have 100 pip profit. What should I do? But they're definitely going to ask me, I'm 20 pips down on the trade. What the hell should I do with it? Now, that's where you come in. And that is what we do here in the group every day. So when you see me showing you this, I'm showing you one part of it. I'm showing the analysis, and I'm giving you the forecast of what we think it's going to do based on the patterns we have at the moment. Now, because the patterns can definitely change, and you will say, well, wait a second. You just said there's specific pattern. Yes, specific pattern that could be as simple as 1, 2, 3, or 4, 5, 6, or 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And they can be expanding. They can be contracting. They can be running, where the running will be more like, this, up here and up like this. They can be running like this. And there is a variation of each one of them. Now, that's what we study in here. That's where I show you how to identify those patterns. So that said, let's go. This is what we would think is forming a running flat. And this forecast was done way before. That arrow was not there when it already moved. That arrow was there before it moved. Now, would it go back up from there? I don't think so. Not as yet. We don't know that. So right now we're in this up move. And as you can see, the same thing, I have it prepared. We have a very sharp move here. So at some point, we're expecting this to come back here and then go. It's going to make a sharp move, and then it's going to go back, retest the top. And this is where it becomes interesting. When it retests this top, will it come to retest this top here? If that's the case, then our running flat is absolutely correct. If that's not the case, then this is going to come and retest this low here. And after that, it could either go back up or it could continue to drop. Now, I'm not going to the details of why that is happening, just showing you how we make forecasts and what we look for in each time. So the first thing is when you make the forecast, you don't just click a trade. You wait for your setups. That's where the strategy comes in. So we were expecting to sell this on Thursday because I wasn't here on Friday. So what I was looking for to see what this consolidation would look like. If this consolidation stays here, we're going to sell it. Well, it's still a consolidation. It hasn't changed from being a consolidation, but because it comes back to the top of this move, this is what we will call a flat pattern. The higher the probability now is that the highest probability is that it's going to come here, retest the top, and then drop. Or make another flat. Make another flat. So what's the trade for today? The trade for today is to get a sell setup. I think that this entire move is about 147 pips. That's a good tradable range for us. So what we need is an impulse and a flag. And we don't have that because what we have here now is a smaller degree of a flat forming. Now I can see this coming here, probably even go back up there and come here. This one is going to go one more up. And I'm not trying to buy it. We're not trying to buy that. Maybe some of my traders could get aggressive, but we're trying to get this move down. We're trying to see if it does that and it comes here and gives us a flag, we're in that sell. See? So when you do the forecast, you're waiting for what is your trade? What are you waiting for? We're waiting for something specific. Now, what if that doesn't happen? Then who cares? The idea is to have an edge in the market. And these patterns, they're very precise and they work very well. I would say about 80% accuracy. Most of the time, they will repeat themselves exactly the same way, but slight variation in about 80% of the time. About 20% of the time, that pattern does not repeat itself the same way. It just does something else. And that is okay. The market is not making patterns. If you're fixated on the market making a pattern for you, it has to be a flat, or it has to be a triangular, something like that, then that is your problem. That's not the market's problem. The idea is we are looking at statistics, and these stats, by the way it clusters, creates certain pattern because everything in the world has patterns. And these patterns tend to repeat themselves, right? And if it does this time, then great. If it doesn't this time, then it's okay. No big deal. I'm just not in the trade. So we wait for when the pattern for 80% of the time behaves that way. And we said, well, if it does, this is what we are going to do, right? So if you're watching my channel for the first time, that's what we do. We do this live, and this is live trading every day. We're live in the trading room. You can't see my traders, but they're in the trading room with me right now. And that's what we do. So that's it. That's more than enough. Let's go. I'm going to go really fast. I'm just going to do a very small amount. I'm only going to do the majors and probably a few of the stocks and a few of the cryptos for you. That's all. The rest of it we do in the trading room because it's very long. So what we're looking for here is this is going to come down here. It could drop. It might even drop here. I don't care. I'm not selling it as yet because this tells me that there's a higher probability of this thing coming here and going back up. I don't think we'll buy that, but we'll see. Maybe in the 5 minutes, we could get a trade to the upside. We're definitely going to be looking for a sell setup. So if I have to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark this looking for a sell setup. Now I know what I'm waiting for until that sell setup comes. Maybe now, maybe tomorrow, because the New York session, by the way, for our traders, New York session is off. Today is bank holiday in New York and Canada, so there would be no point trading, and we wouldn't have a New York session. I should let you guys know that, right? So let's go. Dollar index. So dollar index, I'm not sure about these two. They happened on Friday, and I wasn't here Friday. We don't know. Sometimes those are not real wicks. It's just in the charts. That's the broker problem, but sometimes they're real wicks. I don't know whether they are. We'll check that later on. But even if they are, what it means is that we're making a consolidation here. And there's going to be one more up because it did come here and then it went right back to the top. So we would just allow this to happen, let it break out, break the top. Now, the question is whether we're going back to this top. In the bigger picture, whether we're coming back to this top. So this was our forecast on Friday that this could go. Now, if that becomes the bigger consolidation we are anticipating, and it looks like that's what it's doing, it's probably have to come back here, maybe a couple of this. And if we get this, like this one here, or like this one here, or like this one here, we're going for the next big trade up. So what we were going to do is we're going to wait to buy it from the bottom of that consolidation, not at the top of the consolidation. By the way, I don't think it's over because these are all very sharp moves. We haven't had a core consolidation as yet. So we'll wait there. You could probably go with a sell if it's coming back here. Both of those are correct. I think one of them at least is correct. The first one seems to be a correct wick. I'm not sure about the second one here. So if the first one is correct, then I would assume that this here is the impulse. Can you guys help me? Anybody tell me which one? You were here Friday. Is this one correct? This happened during a news event or so? Anybody? So we look at this then. While you guys are thinking we're going to. So this looks upside here. This looks upside here right now. But I wouldn't buy that as yet. Because it might just, 1 second, guys. Sorry about that. So I wouldn't buy this yet because it might just break it up and come back. I want to see them retest this low. Now, if this is correct, we can make an argument for 1, 2, 3, but I think that is too small. Right? The consolidation phase itself is too small. So let it break the top, let it come back to the bottom here. And if we get this flat and it starts going up, we'll buy it. Now, can we sell this? If it breaks the top and reverse, we'll go for the sell because one of these are definitely true. We'll have to know if both of them are true. I don't know that. We'll check that. So silver, yep, it's still in the consolidation. It's going back up. Nothing new here. I think we can either look at this one with this. There are two chances, or it's making another flat here. So let's go to the 1 hour, see where silver is in the bigger picture. We've got this big drop, and they're kind of climbing up, right? When we had this one here, we were thinking whether this would come here and then go back up. It didn't. It actually dropped. So that would have been a sell setup that we had. Now, if this makes a flat here, we can consider one buy, break the top, and then probably look for a reversal because this is looking more like a consolidation. But sometimes silver does that. It looks like a consolidation like in this one, but then it goes up, right? And then you have to find, this was the low. This was lower than this one. So this was the drop that lowered this upside. It just go up very slow. So if you come back in the 15 minutes, what would be our trade? You can't buy it anymore because it's at the top. And if it's a consolidation, it's going to drop from there. So what we can do here is wait for this to come back here. Now that it's at the top, now that it's here, let it either break the top and come back here. If we get any flag outside of the structure, we're selling. If it comes here, go back, make a flag, we're buying. Can we sell this? I think that might be too small, depending on where we get it from, right? If we have a risk to reward it, that would have to be a 5-minute trade. But this looks very corrective. So if this becomes a flat, we'll buy because sometimes that slow move might retest the top, right? In the bigger picture, we're at the top of a structure, right? See that? We're at the top of this and we're in the top of this structure. There are two structures we're creating, right? I'm sorry, this one is floating. It needs to be here. This is what we're looking at, right? So if you're looking at this up move, we're very close to the top of it within that expanding structure, and we broke this top. And every time you do that and you have divergence here, you're looking for the possibility that they're coming back here. So I think we'll be mostly looking for a sell setup here. See, there's divergence there. So we're looking for a sell setup, and that means this could drop anytime, right? So if we get the sell setup, we'll go for it. Let's see if we break this top first. First, what you wanted to do is you wanted to break this top and then look for the downside. If for whatever reason it doesn't break the top but come back here, especially if it comes like this, go back and then do this, we get a flat there, we're buying this. So right now there's no trade. The closest trade we can get is a sell setup when it breaks the top. Gold. So we can look for a sell setup here. Also put this here. Yep, gold went up. So it broke. This was the low. Turned out that was the low. Went up. This was a flag. That went. There's another flag here. There's a pullback. So which means we're breaking out of this structure at the moment. Now, breaking out of a structure itself is irrelevant unless it consolidates. So the question is whether we get a consolidation to break this top now, because we know this was corrective. Now, that correction doesn't mean that it's over. Right now, we're using this as a contracting flat. And as you know, my call on contracting flats, they're rare and they're not reliable, which means the question I'll ask is, are we looking at a possible expanding or running flat in this case here? Because if we look at this as a running flat, then all this here makes sense. And we could put this as more of an expanding flat. Then all this correction in these two sharp moves will make a lot of sense, right? Because right now, it's not sure why the last move down has so much corrections in it. Right? It's not impulsive. So if I take this out and put it here, I think there's a very high probability that this comes back here. Retest the low. Take this out. Oh, do you actually want this one? Because that is the lowest point. Or whichever, either this or this is the lowest point. It doesn't matter right now. So there's a chance this comes back here and then go up. So what we're going to look for here, I'm going to put this back here. What we would look for here is whether we are consolidating at the top here or if we're dropping. So if we get a sell setup, we'll absolutely take it. No questions asked, because then we would assume that they're coming down, right? If we get a sell setup. By the way, which of these two are low? If this one is the lowest, then we'll put all of this as the flat. It makes sense. That one up, flat, go there. If this is the lowest, then we'll put these. We'll decide which side we have it. So what you're looking for now is a possible reversal. So you want this to come back here. You want it to come back here. You want the flag somewhere here. And then we're going for a sell setup. If we get that. If it stays here and consolidate, which means it goes up and do this, we'll buy it. We'll assume that consolidation will confirm the upside. But right now, the higher probability is the downside because there's too much of consolidation in here, and I hate the idea of the contracting flat. Right? You can put it as a contracting flat. Nothing's wrong with that. That would make sense too, if you put it as a contracting flat. This move is pretty sharp though, relatively sharp. Or this one is much sharper, and this one here would be much sharper. So let's see which comes first. Well, first we look for a sell setup, because if it gives you a flag here, that would happen faster. If it's consolidating, that will take hours. That would be a trade tomorrow maybe, because the first impulse in that is already there, right? Not this one, but this one here. These could be smaller corrections. Euro also correcting. Now we do have a lot of divergence here, so I think this correction is going to become bigger. There is a sell setup here, but you have to be careful. You can take the trade. It might just drop like this and then go back up, because we have a few sharp waves here. This is the lowest point right now. I don't think that's all the correction. Is there? You'll have to put it more like this even. I don't think that's all the correction, because there was a pullback here, a pullback here, and a pullback here. And when we see all of this, we think of this as the correction. Go back up there like this. Come back here, go back up like this sharp one, create a flat, and then drop. Right? Because if you get a flat there, that would be downside. And this looks like it's already heading for downside, right? I think we've discussed these patterns before. And when it comes to this top, it's going to drop. So nothing new here, right? Now, the only question we have is if this is 1, 2, 3. Because remember, this one just barely broke the low of this, and that means we're putting an expanding flat in the middle. But it's downside. So once that consolidation is over, we would look for a sell setup. Now let's go back into the consolidation. And can this one be the one that actually dropped? What if I'm looking at this pattern incorrectly, and this was all the correction, and this has nothing to do with it? Or this is this sharp one up as a contraction. I don't like that contraction, so I'll ignore it. Now, we can sell this if you want. We can try to get a sell set up here, let it consolidate, but you want to get it higher. So what you want is you want this to actually crawl up some more here. And if it gets to the top there and we can sell it here to break the low, then we can go for this trade, which means after that, we can still expect it to go back up, because the more you come back to this top, right, coming here, the more you're looking for this consolidation phase to stay there for a while. It's not actually going to drop. But if it drops and you're in a trade, great. So you can sell this, but it's going back up, let it go up some more, and then we get the sell. That'd be an advantage. So we'll leave that for now. It's a sell setup. If you want to take it, we can track it and see whether we get a risk to reward trade in the sell setup, then we'll take it. Pong, we have this pattern, and like I said when I left you guys on Thursday, if you get a flag here or you get a flag here, sell it. Now, worst case is break even. I don't care which one you do, right? Because it pulled back. We were expecting it to drop here. Right? We're not expecting it to pull back. But it's pulling back now. And that leaves us with, well, why is it pulling back here? We do have this sharp move. See, this is the lowest point. We have that sharp move up. So let's assume that this is not making a channel. These are just smaller corrections. Then if we're making a channel here and we can pull this down, then this would eventually drop here now without anything. So we can still look for a sell setup. What would be the sell setup here? Well, let's see if we can get the trade. Since it's pulling back like this, let's put it like this and wait for a flag. This is not really a flag at the top there. Put him in the 5 minutes. See, that's not much of a flag. That's just consolidation. So you don't want to jump into that. You want it to drop. You want it to drop like this and give you a flag like this. So let it drop here, give us a flag, and we'll sell. Should we sell under this low? No. And the reason you don't want to sell under that low is because there is a lot of sharp moves in here. See that? So I'm not sure that this doesn't come here, go back up to the top there, break out of this structure, right? Probably even as a 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. And then give us this pattern here. That leaves you with 1, 2. Come back here, go back there. Now all this becomes a bigger flat. And that means this is total downside. Right? So it's very similar to what we have on the euro right now, especially with these sharp moves. Now, this sharp move is better than the euro one. If you realize the euro one, this is the lowest point, and the euro that wasn't the lowest point. See? On the euro here, that sharp up move is not the lowest point. This one is lower. So that is why this one might be a little confusing, whether this is part of the correction. But when you look at the pound, you get a very clear vision. No, it is, because in the pound, this is part of that up move. That's the first impulse against the downtrend. So that's the first impulse in the correction. And that means we're still in the correction. Can we sell this? Yeah, it's probably if you get a good risk to reward trade, but it's not going to go very far. I doubt they're going to drop here. I think most likely we will stay in this range. So even if it comes here, it's going to go back up, come back here, go back up, and then drop. Because there's a few more upside and downside in this. We will look for a sell setup. We don't have any here, but we'll look for a sell setup. By the way, if you guys want to trade this, we'll come back to it. Aussie, definitely. I don't know if anyone of you took this. We were looking at that in the Asian session to sell this to come back to the bottom here. It went a little higher than expected because we were expecting it to stay in this range here. This one went a little higher. So if you didn't take the trade, I could go with that. You probably would. So what we're looking at is that we're in this consolidation here. There's a lot of sharp pieces in this, right? Which means this could end up being the core correction. So if you didn't take the trade, no big deal. What we have is this one here. The Aussie is a little different from the euro and the pound. Because the Aussie, we know the bigger trade is to the downside. We know this is coming back here, just like I showed you in the euro pattern and the pound pattern. The only thing we don't know is whether this is going to make one more up before it comes. Possible, very possible. So we're coming back here and we need to keep gauge of what's happening, keep track of this one. Right now, it looks more downside. So we're looking for a sell. The reason is that you've got a really nice flat here. I think you've got a complete flat pattern in there. It dropped and it's consolidating here. So that means continuation. Now, the only question you have now is whether I think this is over. You could make an argument for that. You could make an argument that that's it, that this is 1, 2, 3. Or you could assume that it's going to have more pieces in it because of this pullback here. So even if you're in this trade, you have to be careful because I think this could end up, going back there, then pulling back here, and we might end up with something more like this. Well, if that happens, why do we have a big consolidation in here? Again, you know the rule to that, right? Every time you get a big consolidation like that in there, as you can see in these, when you start getting these big, they don't really go very far. So this could be a bigger consolidation forming here. Should we buy this to the upside? No. Not after this drop, you can buy this one to the upside. Because even if this goes back to the upside here for more upside, it's going to have to come back here and complete this as a flat. And then go up. So there's no buy setup on this as yet. So we'll wait on that. New Zealand. This is a better sell setup because this one didn't come back to the top. It's here. So let's go to the 5 minutes, see what it looks like. Yeah, it looks incomplete. This could be all the correction, but I'm not sure about that. So if you want to sell it, put it entry under the low. Don't sell it inside here because as you can see there's a possibility that this might be a flat of its own here. And go back up there and then drop. Once it stays on the lower half of this, we'll sell it. So right now we're looking for a sell setup. I don't mind if it goes back up. Right, we'll see. We're waiting for a sell. You can put a sell entry under the low, and if it goes higher, then we'll take it off. Right, if this consolidation goes back to the top here, we'll take that off. Right now it's a sell setup, so we can put this as an active sell. Remember, New Zealand, we were expecting it to go down a lot. We broke the top already, right? So this could end up, and I don't think we're doing this anymore. I'm not expecting any expanding flat in here. Right? If we were expecting an expanding flat, then yes. But if this starts to drop, then the idea is it's going to drop much lower. Right? We could expect this to come much, much lower. At least retest this low here and then go back up. So stay with the sell setup for now, and then we'll see how that goes. Sorry, did I put a buy? I should put a sell. CAD, we're looking for upside and a lot upside. I think there's still a lot of upside. Let me show the CAD pattern. Since we're doing only the majors for YouTube, I could show them the CAD pattern. So this is our forecast, just in case you want to know where those arrows come from and when they're put there. As you can see, these arrows are like sometimes months before they actually happen, right? So we were expecting this to come a little lower here and then go up, but it turned here, so that's okay, and it's going up. So this one is going to get to the top there. There are going to be corrections in it, of course. So what we look for is a correction and we buy. I think there was a correction here already. I would probably go with this as an expanding flat. That makes sense. So you want a lower degree one here. Want something smaller here, and then you're looking for more upside. Can it become bigger than that? Let's see in the 15. It can. Why not? I could look at this right now as a possible running flat forming. So we can look for a buy setup. You can literally put an entry order above the top now, assuming that that is a running flat. That is, this here is a running flat. Because this is definitely kind of an expanding flat there. So if this goes, it goes up like that. That's a trade you're looking for. If it comes down lower, we'll just take it off and wait. And then we can put a buy setup here. Put a stop under this low. Or you can put a stop under the running flat, whichever. It's a little small. Let me see how much pips that would be. No, that's okay. That's 38 pips. So you can put a stop there. Swiss. So Swiss, we're expecting downside, but it came higher. So this was the top it needed to break. There's a top there. I'll have to go to 1 minute for you to see that. We did this just before we came in, so it's here, right? It needs to break that top and then drop. Now it came back pretty high into this. So the question now, is it a flat or is it downside? Did we break this top? We broke that top. So this is the highest point right now. Right? And now that we came back all the way to the top, two things you've got to look for. This might not be the drop. You want to exclude this flat before you go for the drop. So it's pulling back real fast. Some of you guys are in the buy, or at least one person's in the buy. Be careful, get it to positive, get it to break even at least. So should this drop straight to the bottom, you get it. If it makes a flag here, we can sell. If this comes here and make a flag here, we'll look for this sell. We're going for this trade. Right? And if we're lucky, it actually continues down, right? Sometimes they do pull back to the top and continue to drop, but we have to assume that it's making a flag. So which one are we going for? Right? Because we have 1, we have 2, and we have 3. So is it just a flat here for one more up? Or is it dropping through the bottom? And both of those are correct because we didn't break the top. And since the top is not broken, that's what we expect. Now, we're expecting it to retest this low. If this is the lowest point, right? If that is the lowest point, we haven't broken. This is the all-time, not the all-time, sorry, that's a monthly low, right? We haven't broken it. So we're either making a flat, we don't need to break it. In the bigger picture, it could be just making a big flat. So there's no need to break that, right? See this one? In the bigger picture, it doesn't need to come here. It could just come to this one. If we don't break the low, we would expect it to come here and then retest the low. That's a big flat. If it does break the low, then we will expect that big move to the top. So there's no need to break the low. I'm just showing you that so you know that breaking that low is not a must. Now, this is a huge flat, and it went up. So if we make another huge flat here, which means if this goes up here, it's already there. If this comes here and start going back up, we'll take the buy. Right? Because it could be that this is the low, you make a big flat, you go, and then this one just kept going. We know CAD is going up already, right? So this could end up going up much more. Or it could be just the CAD moving its own move. So let's see if we get a sell setup here. The first trade we want is a sell setup, short term. We're looking for a short-term sell setup. And yen. We're also looking for a sell setup. I think I explained this already. Let it make the flat first. I wanted to go there and break the stop first, right? See this? Let it go break that top. Maybe this one did even pull back here and go again. We'll not get a flag in that case. But it could come back to this top, come here, and then go back up. So let's see. There's no buy setup. You probably wouldn't buy it as long as you're at the top of this one here. There's no point buying into that, even if it breaks the top for a running flat. Right? There's no good risk to reward in that. Okay, so we have done the majors, right? We'll come to these later in our after I finish for the YouTube. Let me show a few of these. I think we can do the first five. Let's go natural gas. Okay, natural gas is coming down really sharp. Let's see where we have a trade there. We don't have any trade there. The bigger picture is downside. You can see that. I wouldn't be surprised if they do go break that up, right? Because we're looking at this one, right? We've got a 1, 2, 3. This is the big flat in here, right? Whatever you look at it. We've got a 1, 2, 3. This is the big flat here. So it could be that you're making a big flat here, right? Then you'll get 1, 2, 3 to the top there. So I'm not sure this one is trying to drop to the bottom as yet. There's still a probability that this is making a flat here, go break the top and then come down. So now that we're at the bottom here, we have to see what it's doing. Let's go. This was the buy, take it off. We don't need that anymore. That's a very old one. And now we're looking at this. Let's see if we get a flat here. Let's see what it does in this place. I don't think you want to sell here. This is a bad idea. But if it goes back up to the top, or depending on how it goes, if it goes like this, if it goes like this or what, we don't have any trade set up. Just have to wait. US oil. Okay, so that sell came, but it's going back up. So this was not an expanding flat. Take that out. Again, like I said, if the pattern doesn't go the way you expect it to go, no big deal. Just forget about it. Right? Come back here, wait for the next opportunity where 80% of the time it's going to go. That's one of the 20. So you have a contracting flat in there. That's what we didn't expect. So I was expecting this to drop back to the bottom here. Seems we're not doing that. So since we're not doing that, the question is whether we're going to put this to as some kind of a running flat. This is really sharp. I probably wouldn't do that. But we could be making a flat here. So I'll take this out. And I'll take this out. And we're consolidating in this range. See? If you consolidate in that range, especially if it comes lower into here, you're going back up, you'll probably come back here, make a flat, and then continue. So can we buy this? I think we can buy it, depending on how low it comes and what the trade will look like. There could be a short term, it's very short term because you're within a correction, right? So if we get a buy, it will be short term. US 30. Okay, if you took the buy, you did well. We're expecting this to go break the top. It seems like it's still going a little more. There's a smaller flag here. So if you guys took this one, which was this correction here on Friday, you did excellent. Right, there was even a smaller flag here. You're making a smaller flag here, and that means there's at least one more up. Now, every one up here, you'll have to be careful of. Right, every buy here now becomes a really high risk buy because you're making all-time top, right? So you can put an entry order to buy here. We have to be really, really careful for that. I would prefer if this makes a bigger correction like this one here, right? That is a safer buy. You have a very good impulse. So eventually this is going to come back here and, people say, well, yeah, eventually everything come down. That doesn't make sense. But I'm not just guessing that it's going to come down at some point. I'm just saying I need to see it come down to create this pattern. See this here? That sharp move, we don't have anything for, and they always happen. Just in case you want to go back, this one happened. It went to the top, broke the top. It came back for this one. I can go find a million like that, right? So there's no point of me showing you all of them. But that happens all the time. So we are expecting, we have 1, 2, 3, not enough. We need 4, right? Any combination you want to put it. You can say, well, maybe these two are the pattern. And you probably are right about it. Then we still have to get this one. So we still have to get a drop here. And then we can put all of this in one and say, well, somewhere in there is a single pattern or there are 2 patterns for this to go back up. So when it drop here, that would not be the drop of the market as yet. We still will go back up before any bigger drop starts to happen. So let's see if we get it. Come back here, wait for that. If you're buying there, you have to be careful. You're getting some divergence, a lot of divergence, by the way. So it might just break the top and turn. This one, if it makes a bigger one, it will be better for you to take the trade, get it to break even, manage it, and then do what you want. This is one of those cases where it could tag you and pull back. So you have to be careful. S&P 500 would probably be the same thing, right? As a matter of fact, we were looking for an aggressive sell in the S&P 500 this morning. Take it off. Right, like I said, if it goes too much to the top, take it off. That trade is off. It means that you're making a bigger correction. And you could go with the argument of this being a flat here. It didn't look good because you were getting a smaller flat here. Even if it's making a bigger one, this would become a flat and upside. So there probably one more upside. I wouldn't buy this here. I'll probably buy this one here, but I wouldn't buy that one there. If it makes a bigger correction here, we'll consider the buy. So if by New York session, well, New York today is not working, but if it end up doing this, we're going to buy it. But just breaking the top now is not a good idea. Okay, so let's do a few of this. Bitcoin. Okay, Bitcoin has gone back. It actually dropped at this point and it's going back up. We're still in the consolidation, right? We haven't really left the consolidation. See, we're still inside. So the question is, it didn't come to the bottom. Is it trying to go up totally? Are we trying to break the top now? Remember, this was a pretty deep pullback here. This is just a 1, 2, 3. So if you look at this as a flat, this could go break the top. But in that case, I don't think it's a takeoff because there's a lot of deep pullback here within the structure that is not clearly upside as yet. So let's go back here in the 1 hour. I think you could have seen that buy coming. This one drop pullback, you would have closed that. You probably could have seen this one coming if you were looking at this consolidation here, especially with a sharp move. I was near, I think that was on Friday. So we'll put this like this. And you've got a nice consolidation here, a sharp move, a consolidation, that's upside. So the least you would expect this to do is retest this top, right? So this could have been a buy here to retest that top. And when we retest the top, we're in this one, right? When we break that top, we'll have to decide if we're still doing this, if this is still happening. All of this is in here, right? By rule, when you see that, you understand that, you know. Now, what if, just let's go with what if this was the low of this whole correction, right? What if the correction was this? And this was the lowest point, but this is just going up slowly. Well, good for you, right? All you have to do is, if you miss this one, wait for another one and take the next one. Once we break out of this, we'll assume that that's totally going to break this top. Sorry, that's not a straight line, something like this, and keep going. Now, how high it's going to go above that top? Well, that is the catch. That is the unknown moment, but you have to know when to get out, that's all. By rule, and we have a lot of rules on how you can get out, the very strict rules of how what you need to see and what's happening before you get out. You want to get out first. You don't want to be the last person to get out of it, because then you will be stuck with it. So even if it's going up first, you want to trade it to this top. I'm still going to pull this line because I am not sure. Look at me a second. I'm not sure that this here is the last impulse down. Right? It could be that all of this consolidation is making a second flat here. And by that, you can put it like this. And we're in this range. Right? In this one, that's the impulse down, and we're consolidating here. You can literally see this. So it can go back up there, come back here, probably even go back there, drop here, and then still go. We'll see, right? There's still a lot of consolidation going. So right now it looks like a buy setup. You want to wait for one more flag before you buy. If you didn't buy this, take that out. If you didn't buy this on Friday, wait for another flag buy. But as far as we're going to track it, when it breaks the stop, you have to get it to positive. ETH, yeah, it's just a slightly upside. It did break this, it didn't break the low. That just makes it a bigger flat. That would have been a break-even trade. You know that, put it here. Downside. This is still downside. This is still coming here. Right? You can see 1, 2, 3. If this goes up, don't buy it. There's no point trying to buy that as yet. Right? So this is still in this whole big consolidation. And we're not really going anywhere as yet. It might even be a more complex pattern, because if this stays here long, these three would be impulsive in relationship to this. But for now, we can assume that's 1, 2, or this is a 1, 2, 3 here. So this level, go back up and then come down, right? So this would be 1, this would be 2, this would be 3. And this is the internal movement, right? The internal one is 1, 2, 3. With this being a flat there, I think that's okay. This could drop here. Let's see. I wouldn't buy this at the top there as yet. No buying in that. XRP? Yep, you have the perfect sell setup here now. It's coming to break this low. And then from there, we will decide Is it this one or is it going much more to the downside? Right now, we're going to go for this one. Right, we're going for this one here, which means there's one more drop to happen and then upside. Right, this one needs to drop here, then upside. So you can put an entry order to sell under this low. Wrong one. Put an entry order to sell here. The higher it goes, the more you can move that entry order up. If you go on the 1 hour, you'll probably get a better entry. Yeah, this will probably break the top here. I can see that happening. Probably break that top and then look for a sell from here going down on the 50. So I'm not at this, we're in the 4 hours. I'll take this off, but you look for a sell from the top going, right? Let it break this top first. Let it break out of that and then look for the sell setup. So this one you can easily put it for a sell setup. I think that's enough. We do all of these. So if you want access to doing all of this, one of them that we looked at this morning that has a really good sell setup was this one. All right, then let's see if the sell is still active. So this was more like a 5-minute trade. You definitely either out of the trade or if you're tagged on it, you should have closed it already, right? So this is a 5-minute flag. We're hoping it's still valid. Your stop should be here. If you didn't get to close it, use this opportunity to close it because this is making a bigger correction. It could still be a flat, right? They're making another flat here and then go. But if you take the 5-minute trade, you're not going to stay in it long, right? This has to drop immediately. So it's still a sell setup as of now. That is still a sell setup. But this could become, this here could become a flat coming here and then going back up, right? More like 1, 2, 3, and then go back up. This is the top of the moment. So that is the impulse now. So if we were waiting for a bigger 15 minutes, you're okay if you're waiting for that. If not, then if you're tagged in this trade, you either close it here. If you didn't close it here, just wait for it to pull back. Use that opportunity to close, put the entry under the low. This one probably not. Don't sell anymore because you're there. When it comes here, it'll be more of a flat. When they come back here, it's going to be more of this flat here for upside. If it's dropping through, it needs to break the low, then make another flag and then go. Every time it comes back to the top, wait for the break of the low, the next flag, and then do it. So keep an eye on this one. The reason we're looking at this from an aggressive point is because we do have a very big trade to the downside. What is this doing here? If you want to take it out. If you look at the pattern in the weekly, we're trying to catch it on the 5 minutes, but this is the weekly pattern. 1, 2, 3, and you have a lot of divergence at the top here. Right? You can see that divergence there. And if you go lower, there's still more divergence. You can see this divergence here. And you can see this divergence, this one here, with all of that. So you're getting internal divergence in this here. That is this one here with this, we have divergence. And then internally in this piece here, you're getting divergence. You go to the 4 hour, you'll see more divergence. And then you come to the 4 hour, you can see the divergence in this last piece up. See that divergence there, right? So that's a telling sign that something is going to happen. And then when you go to the 1 hour, you're looking for divergence between these last two here, which we have. So this correction, this is a correction here that should come down. The only question is it going to break the top for a running flat? Well, this, consolidator go break the top for this one. This is the trade we're trying to catch on the 5 minutes. So let's go back to the 5 minutes, the 50 minutes. We're pretty much at the top of that. See, we're at the top of this. Let me put a line here to show where the top is. Pretty much at the top. So any setup you get here for a sell is a good idea, not a bad idea. And we had a setup for a sell this morning. We're pretty much on the 5 minutes only. The small flag. And as a 5-minute flag, it tends to break, tag you, pull back into it. Didn't break the low. If you stay with it, pull back here, close it. Right? Don't keep it. This has to go. So this comes here, it will still be a flat. I don't think this has anything to do with it. You could make an argument for running flat here, but this consolidation. So wait for this and then we'll see where that goes. If it breaks the top, look for another sell setup. If it does break the top, if this doesn't break the top here, look for another sell setup here again. Remember, the risk to reward in this trade to the downside is going to be amazing. And it will happen. So that said, let's go. I would stop the recording for my YouTube viewers. If you like it, to leave a comment, click a like, you know, if you want to join us and you want to see what we do in our trading room, send me a Skype message. The Skype is in the description.